The other day, Chuck Todd aired a deceptively edited segment that made Bill Barr look really bad. It took his comments out of context by removing the bulk of his answer, making it seem like he was acting like, I can do whatever I want. Something to that effect. We'll read to it. The Daily Mail reports Donald Trump demands Chuck Todd is fired, and his bosses at NBC are prosecuted by the FCC for editing tape of Bill Barr discussing clearing Michael Flynn as he rages against sleazy hit job. Now, they don't have the tweet pulled up or something where Donald Trump says they should actually be prosecuted. He just says something to the effect of, if it was a Republican, they would be prosecuted. Maybe I'm missing something here, but we'll read the story. We also have news that Joe Scarborough is apologizing to Mike Pence and Ted Cruz after a heated Twitter feud. Now, that I can respect. Thank you, Mr. Scarborough. We'll get to this if we have time, but let's read about what Donald Trump is saying. And I'll tell you, if he really wants this guy to be prosecuted for fake news, we have a First Amendment, so you can't do that. But let's just read. The Daily Mail says President Donald Trump launched a new round of salvos at NBC's Chuck Todd on Monday morning, complaining Meet the Press performed a sleazy hit job on Attorney General William Barr and reiterating his call for Todd to be fired. Okay, now that's different. Guy probably should be fired. Trump let loose after the program admitted to inadvertently cutting short a soundbite from Barr when he was responding to a question about the dismissal of charges against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. No, they didn't inadvertently do it. They literally did it. They showed it, and then they dropped the audio right after Bill Barr basically says, he's asked, about, Flynn being released, how people would think. And he says, well, history is written by the winners. So it really just depends. But I think history will reflect that we did the right thing, blah, blah, blah. They cut off the end. So it sounds like he's just saying, well, we're in charge, so we win, blah, blah, blah. Quote, he should be fired by Comcast if done by a Republican would be prosecuted. Trump tweeted Monday morning, CCing Ajit Pai, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC has jurisdiction over the public airwaves, which NBC used to broadcast. The president launched an all-out Twitter assault against Todd, who he frequently derides as Sleepy Eyes, on Sunday after NBC made its apology for the edited quote from Barr. Trump picked up Monday morning where he left off the night before, retweeting his own salvos and hits from his supporters, including one that called NBC's actions a sleazy hit job. The president also retweeted a point made by Fox News' Brit Hume, who wrote, quote, though NBC posted a correction on Twitter of its misrepresentation of Barr's words, as of this writing, it had not added so much as a note to the transcript. Hume had his own Twitter controversy in March when he was mercilessly mocked online after he posted a screenshot on Twitter about the election, and eagle-eyed social media users realized a tab on his internet browser said "Sexy Vixen Vinyl." It's not nearly as bad as Kurt Eichenwald, who is so bad I'm not going to point it out. But I'll just tell you, it had something to do with tentacles, and you know where that goes. So yeah, some people get bad things happening. Let's read some more. So here we can see his tweets. Sleazy hit job, Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd is the guy who had on Ted Cruz and asked him about, I believe it was Chuck Todd, asked him about Ukrainian meddling. And he was like, do you really think the Ukrainians were meddling? And Ted Cruz said something to the effect of, there have been numerous press reports that that Ukrainians may have done this. And then all of a sudden you hear laughing on Chuck Todd's side, and he starts laughing. And it's like, bro, do you even have Google? Chuck Todd should be fired for 1,000,001 reasons. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. You could have just Googled it, bro. The New York Times wrote about the Ukrainian meddling. A court in Ukraine ruled it was happening. This guy, it's sleazy performative rage bait. What do you expect? They say, but it was NBC's Chuck Todd in the president's sightlines after Meet the Press used an abbreviated quote. Is that what you're calling it, Daily Mail? Come on. NBC apologized for the poor editing on Sunday evening, admitting that the clip Todd had played was inadvertently and inaccurately cut short. But Trump picked up on it and included his fury at Todd and the network in a tweet storm on Sunday. The president spent Mother's Day firing off more than 100 tweets and retweets, also launching attacks at Barack Obama, 60 Minutes, and Jimmy Kimmel. One of those included his calls for Todd to be fired. Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd should be fired by Comcast NBC for this fraud. He knew exactly what he was doing. Public airwaves equals fake news. Well, I agree with the bulk of what Trump is saying. I think Chuck Todd knew exactly what he was doing. It's the name of the game, man. Come on. If you want to get the ratings, if you want to get the traffic, you've got to shock and sensationalize. That's what it's all about, man. They say it took place during a roundtable discussion that, we get it. Do they have the apology here? Here's a statement from Carrie Kupek of the DOJ, very disappointed by the deceptive editing commentary by Chuck Todd. So I did talk about this the other day, but they ended up apologizing later last night, saying, you're correct. Earlier today, we inadvertently and inaccurately cut short a video clip of an interview with AG Barr before offering commentary and analysis. The remaining clip included important remarks from the Attorney General that we missed, and we regret the error. No, they don't. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You run the fake news, you get all the clicks. You run the apology, you still get clicks. That means they make money on the fake news and the apology, and then can say, "Oh, it was all a mistake. We're so sorry." They're not going to run it on. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if they've run an on-air retraction. I'd like to see them run an on-air retraction and apology. Maybe they will. I really doubt it. They say, Kupek would say she was very disappointed. So we get all this. You know what? Here's what we should do. Let's take a look at the right way to do things. Joe Scarborough, for all his faults, he has said some pretty good things. He has, been self-critical in the past. And here he is saying that he's got to work on himself. Scarborough apologizes to Mike Pence and Cruz after heated Twitter feud. Maybe this is what Chuck Todd should be doing. MSNBC's Joe Scarborough apologized to Vice President Pence and Senator Ted Cruz after getting into a weekend Twitter feud, saying he was wrong to retweet a video produced by the late night host Jimmy Kimmel and that he should not have allowed himself to be provoked. About last night, I got to work on some things myself. I feel really bad about retweeting the Jimmy Kimmel video, Scarborough wrote while retweeting conservative pundit Eric Erickson. I feel worse about being provoked. I apologize again to Mike Pence, to my Twitter followers, and to Ted. I've got to do better. Here, good sir. I respect that. You see, Jimmy Kimmel also produced fake news where he accused Mike Pence of staging a press event with fake boxes of protective equipment. Some Democrats then latched on and said, "Hot Mike catches Mike Pence delivering empty boxes." The whole thing was fake. I don't get it, man. I've asked it before. At what point are they tired of being wrong? I don't. This is what you fall for, man. So I can respect Joe Scarborough for apologizing for it. But perhaps if you learned Covington, Jussie Smollett, come on, man. You can't constantly just believe this stuff, can you? Man, Jimmy Kimmel, dude, that guy is the worst. This is what they do. They make fake videos and they get away with it. Eric Erickson actually tweeted, he said, about last night, I got to work on word choices, and I'm deeply encouraged by the large number of conservatives, not to mention everyone else who agreed, that actually makes me more hopeful about the situation within the movement. They say the Kimmel video showed Pence delivering protective gear to a Virginia hospital. During part of the video, Pence is told that some of the boxes are empty, and he jokes to staffers about whether he should carry those into the hospital. The only boxes he carries in are full of gear, but the video suggests Pence was bringing in empty boxes. After Cruz criticized Scarborough for tweeting the video, Scarborough ripped Cruz, saying he had sold his soul to support President Trump. Ted Cruz said, when you're on the defensive for being dishonest and corrupt, perhaps best not to forward fraudulent stories from Jimmy Kimmel that he's admitted were false. You're claiming to be a journalist. Scarborough said, Ted, when I make a mistake, I admit it. You remain mired in shame because you kowtowed to a man who called your wife ugly and said your daddy assassinated JFK. Me messing up a tweet or two will never erase the shame you carry every day of your life. I try my best to avoid this kind of Twitter absurdity because Joe made no argument. Ted Cruz made an argument. Ted Cruz's argument is that if you want to claim you're not fake news, don't post fake news. Joe Scarborough responded with an ad hominem saying, well, Trump makes fun of you and you bend the knee to him. Has nothing to do with fake news at all. You want to make a separate argument? I guess that's fine. But I'll tell you what, this is one of the biggest problems with political commentary on the left. It's what they do. So Joe Scarborough apologized. I can respect that. He went on to, so Ted Cruz said, Joe, you chased after Trump for like 2 years like a teenage girl, throwing. So Ted Cruz falls into the muck and the mire too. He deserves some criticism. Ultimately, it ended with an apology. I can respect it. Kimmel is a comedian, but he still should be careful about perpetuating a narrative the media peddles fake news. Look, Jimmy Kimmel is a comedian, but people go to Kimmel, they go to John Oliver, they go to Trevor Noah, Samantha Bee, expecting them to get real information, They really do. What people will tell you is the comedian defense. It's just a joke, man. They're not supposed to take it seriously. No, dude, there's a difference between someone making a joke like George Carlin would and someone showing you a video clip claiming it's true and then mocking it. That's manipulating people. Okay, people went to Jon Stewart because Jon Stewart told the truth for the most part. I say for the most part because I'm not going to go through every single one of his videos. But Jon Stewart would uncritically show some Veritas stuff and praise the work Veritas had done. Jon Stewart was honest and was humorous in his delivery of information. What we get now, John Oliver lying, Samantha Bee lying, lie. Jimmy Kimmel lying. And they justify it by saying, we're just telling jokes. It's not supposed to be serious. But when people think you are giving them factual information and you don't clarify that, you're misleading them. Now, listen, I understand there's a difference between satire and, delivering the news. Some news outlets, some fact-checking outlets, I'll do air quotes, have dragged some parody sites and satirical sites for misleading people. Listen, if Jimmy Kimmel says, here's a real video of Mike Pence, and then cuts it so you can't tell what happened, that's different from someone claiming Ocasio-Cortez grew dragon wings and started flying around breathing fire. Some of these stories that come out from like the Babylon Bee end up getting fact-checked, even though they're satire and they're absurd on their face. It's very different from what Jimmy Kimmel has done. Well, I'm glad to see the apology from Scarborough. Donald Trump, I don't believe wanted a prosecution, but you can't prosecute anyway. Chuck Todd is just a bad person, and that's that. I'll leave it there. Yeah, I rag on the media all the time. I got a couple more segments coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.